Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? Oh man. Uh, all right, we're looking good. Okay. Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devo'S, so motivational, back with another day trade inspire recap. I know I dropped a video for the same thing, inspire recap, um, earlier, but I took another trade, and so I still had to call this the inspire recap. Excuse me. So first, we're gonna go into I'm gonna show you all the markets, what's going on after this huge, um, basically just range. It was all range day. As you know, I got stopped out minus 93 bucks on my first trade, and I ended up taking two more trades after that. And I'm gonna go over those, and then we're gonna go over why we ended up having this big pump around what, almost 1 o'clock, literally 12 o'clock. We were trending up right here, and then late 12, um, we started having this, and then around like 12:40, literally whenever we had this. So really late pump in the market. I have, I think, a reason why, which I haven't seen this news everywhere, but I did see this whenever this news did come out. That's pretty much whenever this big move was going on. So I figured that's what was moving the markets, but I couldn't really find the news everywhere. It was kind of just I like it was kind of hard to find this little article. But on the news app I have, it showed up. But I was trying to search for it and everything. It actually took a while for it to pop up. But I believe that's what actually helped the market move, as long with the along with the good PPI we had. So as we know, it was forecasted 0.1%. It's at negative 0.4%. So that means, what is the PPI? That's the producer price index, basically saying the prices for the companies, what they're selling to the customers. So like basically saying like, okay, if I'm selling iPhones, the iPhone prices are dropping and stuff like that. And so that's good. That's good because if they're lowering their prices, that means we're spending less. Because if they gotta lower their prices, that means the demand is down, right? And so whenever they're lowering their prices, it's showing that the demand is down. And so ultimately, that is so. Yesterday we had CPI, that is the consumer price index, and so our consumer spending was down. And the following day we have good PPI because the PPI was down. So it's basically showing that we're spending less, and so that means inflation is coming down. And so inflation coming down is closer to rate cuts, and we know we love rate cuts in the market, right? And so those two things were very good to see. But we had this to start the morning, right? And we still just had a bunch of chop, right? So I thought we could maybe have a good pump, like before all this, right? I mean, because obviously we did have a pump, but that was like later on in the day, 12:30, 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I thought for the morning we might have had like a some type of move or pump or something, you know. But we were kind of just getting faked out, and as you know, what the heck? As you know, bro, what's? Oh my god. Okay, so as you know, I got in at this change of character right here. I got in at this change of character. Please, if you didn't watch my trade recap, my video, please go back and watch that. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I love every single one of y'all who are with me on this journey. I'm just gonna briefly go over this. I got my change of character, got my pullback, got in. I was up a little bit of money before we had this reaction off of this gap, knocking me out because it stopped me out. My stop loss was at the top of this wick. But ultimately, it hit this resistance again. The resistance knocked it down, sweeping these lows, which I was targeting the whole time. I was targeting these lows right here. I wanted those to get hit. I mean, I would have aimed for these, but these were the main ones I wanted. After these hit, I would have took profits after seeing this candle. But price ended up getting a reaction off of this gap, stopping me out, and then using the resistance to knock back down. And so that's just a trade you gotta, you know what I'm saying, chalk it up and just, you know what I'm saying, learn from me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was a good trade. But so why did we have this huge pump towards the end of the trading market day? Well, so on top of the PPI good news, this is also some good news that we have. It says Federal Reserve absolutely ready to help stabilize market if needed. Top official says. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, so it says the Federal Reserve would absolutely be prepared to deploy its firepower to stabilize financial markets should conditions become disorderly, according to one of the central bank top officials. Um, so it says Susan Collins, head of the Boston Fed, said markets are continuing to function well and that we're not seeing liquidity concerns overall. So basically saying we're not seeing money problems, which I would probably disagree with that, but it's saying we're not seeing liquidity concerns overall. But she said the central bank does have tools to address concerns about market functioning or liquidity should they arise. We have had to deploy quite quickly various tools, she told the Financial Times, referring to past interventions to address chaotic conditions in markets. We would absolutely be prepared to do that as needed. So that's really good news. Basically saying like the Federal Reserve, like exactly this is just the kind of the summary. I read a little more, but just the summary basically of it all. Federal Reserve absolutely ready to help stabilize market if needed. Top official says. So basically, if basically he's willing to get rate cuts, right, or give rate cuts. So that's awesome. So that's on top of that PPI good news, right? So that's honestly why I see us having this big old pump, right? And I told y'all in my trade recap what I was looking for. I literally said what I was looking for, and this played out. Please, 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 please go watch the like. If you don't want to watch the whole video, please go like towards the end of the video where I was like finishing my trade recap, and I was like, okay, we're having this pump, and I was like, and I literally said it. I was like, I would want to get this trade if it broke through. I was like, okay, it broke through. I was like, if it comes back and test it, I would be in for a call. Well, what did it do? It chopped, came down, tested it, and actually bounced up, right? And I actually missed that move. And I still missed the move. And that's where it's like, if I follow my rules, it's gonna work every time. You know what I'm saying? Because what did we do? We broke through this area of key resistance. As we can see, we had 1 try, 2 tries, 3 tries, 4 tries before knocking it all the way down. And then you see this try, you see this try, you see these tries. Like this one and this one couldn't even get up there. These two tried again and got knocked down. And so that's a key resistance area. And obviously, we know if we break resistance, we try to turn it into support. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. So we broke the resistance. We came down, tested as support before getting this huge jump. And that's where it's kind of like frustrating, because I literally said, please, if you do not believe me, please go watch the end of that video. I literally said I'd be wanting to, if I literally said, like, because whenever I was making the video, I'm pretty sure it broke it, and I said I would want to see it test this resistance, making it a support, and I would be in for a call if I'm seeing wicks, and engulfing candle. Well, I was watching this, and these were not wicks. they were pretty strong. These sellers were trying to knock it down, but these bulls were just strong. So I mean, I didn't get the wicks, but I still had this engulfing candle. But then this thing jumped up out of nowhere. It started flying. Look, I'm telling you, look at this. So 12:36 to get to this candle, 12:40. Literally 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, you had a 534, 529, and 534. So 4 minutes, you literally got all these candles. So it was pretty quick. I should have trusted the strategy, because that's my strategy, right? You know what I'm saying? I wait for a reaction off of my support and resistance, and I want to see a pullback into a fair value gap or order block, right? Well, it broke through here. It made it a support, broke up, and where would have been like a fair value gap? Well, a fair value gap is right here, and then also, well, this was a wick or a little retracement down to kind of fill these orders, right? So that would have been a pretty good entry right there. But where did I get in at? I believe I got in at this candle. I think I got in at this candle right here. And I wrote it up, and when it started coming down, I took profit. Like, I closed my trade. It was only up 42 bucks, you know what I'm saying? But if I would have held in, I would have been up a lot more. I would have been up a lot more. It would have been up to about 200 bucks. I'm not even gonna lie. That would have been up about 200 bucks because I also had two contracts. And so when I got in like right around here, it broke up and it started coming back down. I closed it out. Then when we started breaking up again, where did I add? I bought another contract right up here. So it's just kind of too late. Um, yeah, basically I knew I was kind of like trend chasing right there, but since I knew I had this good news, right? As we know, whenever we have the good news, the thing is just like popping up $30, $40, but we're not gonna get $30, $40 right now. Why? The only news I feel like that would really move this market $30, $40 from where we're at right now, because we've already had the big moves, like, and they kind of moved us up pretty high already. Excuse me. You see what I'm saying? They've already kind of moved us up off of these lows. Excuse me. They already moved us up off of these lows, so we're kind of high, right? We're only probably about 15%. I'm saying only, but that's still that's still far down. But we've already moved substantially higher, so I feel like the only thing that can really move us like probably $34 is maybe if the tariffs and all the deals have been completely worked out, or a Fed comes out and says rate cuts or something pretty, like pretty substantial. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna move us, but I'm prepared for it all. I'm prepared for it all, man. I'm locked in. I'm prepared. I'm telling you guys, next week we are gonna make some money. I am prepared. I'm ready. We are ready for next week. I'm telling you, next week gonna be a big week, a good one, a good week, and a big week. Just trust me, and remember these words. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a big week. It's gonna be a winning week tomorrow. Okay, but I added on to another contract up here before price started breaking down against me, and I closed it out, so minus 28 bucks. And so I was minus 93. I was minus 120 bucks. No, I was minus 130 bucks, right? And I made 42 bucks back, so I was down 90 something, whatever. And then I lost 28 bucks, and so now I'm officially down $117. $117 on the week. I'm gonna write this out just so I can get it in my head, because I'm tired of freaking losing. So I gotta write that out just to remind me that I had a bad week. You know what I'm saying? It's not too bad. You know what I'm saying? But um, it should have been a good week, and next week's gonna be a better week. Next week's gonna be a better week. All right, guys, stay with me. You know what I'm saying? I love every single one of y'all who are on the journey. Remember, y'all are seeing the wins, the losses, the goods, the bads, the uglies. Y'all gonna see the happy dances whenever I start really making these consistent profits. You know what I'm saying? So minus 117 on the week. 117. That's not too bad. I had about six trades. I had about 7 trades. Minus 117 bucks. I follow disciplines, I follow strategy all week, so I did good on that. So that's why it's not too bad. Like, I'm not too mad about it, but at the same time, it's like I followed all my disciplines and strategies. And I know there's some moves that I missed out on some money, like literally this one. If I would have held it a little bit, but I didn't want to. I know I was already kind of trend chasing this. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't ever want to FOMO in. And that's one thing I do not try to do. I do not try to FOMO in. If price, that's why it's like on them $30 and $40 moves, they're like them big jumps off that good news. It's hard for me to get in because I already know what price does. You know what I'm saying? But off of good news like that, the market's gonna keep jumping. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so far down. If we get some good news like that, like that tariff pause was just extremely good news. So they just bought it up. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where it's like, it's hard for me to jump on that move when it's moving, because like I'm not a trend chaser. I need to see my retracement. It's my gap or something, and moves like this, they don't really give a gap, you know what I'm saying, off this good news. And so it's just I don't like trend chasing it, you know what I'm saying. If I didn't get in at this support, I don't want to get in. Even though it's good news, I don't want to freaking chin chase right here as I see it just jumping up, you know what I'm saying. And so that's where it's like it's maddening, but it's like, nah, I gotta stick to my rules, because yeah, it might work. It might have worked if I would have hopped on that $30, $40 move, that train, and just rode it up, you know what I'm saying, and FOMO'd, but been rewarded for the FOMO, right? But ultimately, that is not sustainable. You don't want to break your disciplines and stuff, because ultimately that carries on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to keep those disciplines and install those things into you, because ultimately those are going to keep you in the game long term. You know what I'm saying? But I did get in on here because I seen this good news. Because once I seen it start jumping, opened up my news and I seen this. It said like 2 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, that's why it's jumping. So I hopped in. Right. Let me go back to it. Jesus Christ. So I hopped in. Where I said this candle right here. Yeah, it was this candle right here. I hopped in, and once we started wicking down, I just closed it 42. And then when it broke up again, and when it was breaking, I was like, all right, let me see how high it's gonna break then. So I got in for another like high up call, and then it ended up started coming up against me. So I closed it minus 28 bucks. So down 117 on the week, but next week is gonna be a big week. All right, boys, trust me, trust and believe. Next week's gonna be a big week. All right, I'm calling it, and I know it. I feel it. And so I was feeling really good coming into today. Excuse me, man. And so, please, if you didn't watch my trade recap, please go back and watch my trade recap, because, man, I feel like this was a really good entry. And as you see, it did come down and sweep these lows. And I just knew it was going to sweep these lows, man. I knew it was going to sweep these lows, and that's what I was targeting. And it stopped me out, used the resistance, and just shot it right back down. And that's, man, that's frustrating. But, you know what I'm saying? We ain't complain about it, but it's like, man, that would have been a good one. But that is basically why we had this pretty big pump, right? 526 to about 536. That's why we had that big pump, because this good news for the economy, and then also the PPI we know is really good news, right? And so let's go look at our Tesla. So earlier I was showing on Tesla how we just had such beautiful price action, literally like, oh my God, flawless, beautifully. So what did we have? We had the breakup. We swept these highs right here, breaking down. Ended up getting one little final push, sweeping highs again, right? For giving that real change of character, right? Because this was just a pullback, right? Because look, all we did was have this run up. So look, watch this. How do I know this was like? You don't really know it's the final sweep, but why would this change of character be like the confirmation? Like, why? I feel like if I was watching the Tesla chart, I would have capitalized off this to the T. And it's easy to say that, hindsight's 2020, so it's easy to say that. But it's like, I'm gonna break down like what I feel like I would have seen and what I see now about this Tesla chart right now. Okay. So what did we do? We just continued off where we left off yesterday. So we're climbing yesterday, right? So we just continued that off. What did we do? We swept these highs right here, right? We swept these highs. We swept these highs a little bit, but then given a pullback. This is our official pullback, because we didn't even get pullbacks really, right? We didn't even get no pullbacks. This was an official pullback, right? Before getting another rally. And what did we do? Sweep these highs before getting these huge breakdown. Then what did we get? Sorry, you know my line gotta be even. What did we get? Let me write this up. Let me write this down. Just so I can have everything marked out. We had this change of character. Simple as day. Why? Because we had this pullback, and then we had a higher high before having an actual lower. We had a higher high, and we need a higher low to continue the trend, right? But then we ended up having a lower low. So what formation is that? Easiest formation in the book, boys and girls. I told y'all this multiple times, right? Jesus Christ, breaker block formation, right? So we have a low, a high, a higher low, then you make a higher high, continuing that trend, right? And then what are we expecting? We're expecting a higher low, but then we end up getting a lower low, and then you get a retracement into a fair value gap or your order block, or sometimes you'll actually just retrace to like the bottom of this last swing, and then you'll end up reversing trend. It's just so beautiful. It's literally beautiful because it's literally to the T, right? It's literally everything you learn right here. Like this Tesla chart, literally, like just straight up, just like it's literally beautiful, man. It's literally something to run home to mama about. So we had this this high, low, and then a higher high, but then a lower low, right? Giving a change of character, pulled back, and where did we pull back to? Easy. Pulled back to our fair value gap. Easy. And then what did we do? Right after pulling back into our fair value gap, what did we do? We broke structure. Boom, 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 boom. Broke structure. Then what did we get? So you'd be watching this, right? Because this is a big gap right here, right? This is a big gap of orders, right? So you would have to watch that area, right? And what did that area do? Gave a wick, okay, it gave a reaction, right? And this is even more beautiful. It gave that reaction, but what did it do? Price gave the reaction off of this fair value gap, but we're technically in a downtrend now, right? So this is going to be kind of like, okay, if I made my money on that, because that was beautiful, the easiest, beautiful, most easy. Excuse me, sorry. It was the easiest, most beautiful price action right here move ever, right? To get in and write it down, break a structure. I would have wrote it down right here, and once I started to see price come against me, I would have got out, right? And this is where you could have gotten in again, right? So after you got your reaction, you know you broke structure, right? After breaking structure, what do you get? You get another fair value gap and another order block of breaking structure, right? So what would I have? My fair value gap right here. Well, and then, yeah, my fair value gap. I'm trying to close it. Oh my God. My fair value gap would be right there, right? Where would my order block be? Well, I would have an order block. This would be like the order block right here, right? So let me delete this one because we already finished this one. This would be like your order block area, right? Like these candles right here, because it's the candle that gave the leg down. This is the candle or candles before your leg break a structure. So when I say your leg, I mean like your next swing. That's what I mean. So your candle or candles before your next swing breaking structure, right? That's where you find your order blocks, right? And so that's the order block area, and you ultimately have a fair value gap, right? So it used this gap to give another retracement into this fair value gap before what? Before what? Oh my God, man, this is so beautiful. It's literally like beautiful. Oh my goodness. Before what? Breaking structure again. Like, oh my goodness. So Tesla absolutely printed. We're gonna be paying attention to Tesla now from now on. So from now on, we are going to be having. From now on, we are going to be having these things right here. From now on, we are going to be having a Tesla chart open and my SPY chart open, because usually they correlate. That is why I just stay on SPY, because usually what happens on Tesla is going to kind of happen on the SPY chart, right? Just like how you see this move up. What did we see after all this beautiful price action? We started to end up seeing a move up, right? So usually it like correlates with each other, but hey, today it didn't. Today, like, because I knew I was kind of like, it was like tricky, because I already seen we were in this range, so I already knew it was kind of tricky. But I still feel like I could capitalize, and I feel like I should have capitalized, and I feel like it was still a good entry. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, this was rangy, and if I was seeing all this rangy stuff, I could have came to Tesla and seen what Tesla was doing, right? And I could have seen the sweep of highs, gave my change of character, pulled back to very very good. I would have said F SPY. I'm on Tesla today. You know what I'm saying? But hey, hindsight's 2020. For now on, we're gonna start looking at both of those charts. Okay. From now on, we're gonna start having both of those charts open. And then also I like to look at QQQ as well as looking at my SPY just for any SMT divergences. Seeing if on QQ, because they're going to correlate, right? But sometimes one would do something before the other. So sometimes QQQ will sweep highs and then the S&P will already, so sometimes the QQQ will sweep highs, right? Will sweep the highs and then start to give a change of character. And then you'll have your S&P already change the character, you know what I'm saying? And so they'll like correlate, so you want to really look for your SMT divergences, right? And so that's why I kind of keep an eye on the QQQ as well. But I mean that's pretty much it, right? Because I already had my recap for my first trade, so that was just kind of my recap for my actual next two trades. So I had one loser, minus 28 bucks, and then had one winner of 42 bucks. It should have been more than 42 bucks, but hey, next week we're gonna have winners. Stay with me, all right? Please, if you haven't watched any of my videos, make sure you're tuned in next week, because next week we're gonna be winning. It's gonna say minus. It's not gonna say minus 117 next week. You know what it's gonna say? I'm gonna write it out for you guys so you can see. It's gonna say plus 1017. I ain't even playing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's gonna say next week, and it might honestly say this. Whatever number that is, 100. Yeah, it might say 1 million, and geez, whatever number that is. That's how much I might be up next week. You know, I'm not that good with math. I just work on these charts, and I know what PPI and CPI and all that means. But like the math, hey, y'all can have the math stuff, right? And so I think that's pretty much it for the day, right? So we had our we know we had this good news. We had our PPI good news. That's pretty much it. If I go over my investing, so this is usually where I get all my news. I have this one on my phone. On investing.com is usually what I use. I feel like it's like one of the best apps ever, because literally, like, as the market's flying up, you'll literally go on there and it'll literally say like 1 minute ago. Like that news is pretty fast, right? And so I like investing.com, but I like the one on the phone because I feel like the one on the phone shows you more, because on the one on my phone, I actually found this article. I found this article on my phone, but on the computer, I cannot find this article to save my life. I literally can't find it to save my life, right? And so I literally had to search this up like word by word. But so if you're wondering like what news app I like to use investing.com, but on my phone, that's where I find it most Jesus Christ, like that's where I get like the Federal Reserve articles and stuff, and I'm pretty sure you can find them on here, but I don't know, on the phone is where I get them quick, and that's just where I like to have it at, right? And so we had the PPI good news, Federal Reserve good news, and that's pretty much why we had this pump, right? And it got stopped out 2 trades, minus 28, minus 93. I made a 42 winner. We are minus. Jesus Christ, I just removed all those drawings, right? That's alright. So we are minus 117 on the week, but that's actually not bad. That's not too bad, you know what I'm saying? We're getting better and better. Even though we've lost some money this week, I know we're still getting better, you know what I'm saying? I still know every day we're learning, every day we're getting to it, every day we're getting better. And that's all you can ask for, right? So remember, y'all sticking with me through this journey. Y'all gonna see the goods, bads, the uglies, and ultimately y'all gonna see these big wins. Just trust me, just stay with me, all right, guys? I love every single one of y'all that are with me. I know it's kind of a quick live stream, but I know it's also kind of late. And I mean, I pretty much went over everything I want to say, you know what I'm saying? We had a beautiful Tesla chart. Our SPY, we know what we did on our SPY already, why we had the pump, where our trades were at. We know our good news, and that's pretty much it. So if anything happens tomorrow, I will go on live tomorrow, but most likely I won't be here tomorrow. But I will see you guys. I will most likely see you guys Sunday. And of course, you will see me every day on a weekday, because every day, day traders show up every single day, regardless. You know what I'm saying? We show up regardless, and we trying to make money through these markets daily. You know what I'm saying? And we are gonna make money through these markets daily. All right. So remember, guys, trading is risky. Manage your risk. Be disciplined. Follow your disciplines. No FOMOs. All right. Follow your discipline. Follow your strategy. Have risk management, and make sure you study so you know what you're looking at in these markets, and so you're not gambling. Okay. Even though I'm losing money here, I also make money too. So I know I have some losers, but ultimately I do have some winners too. You know what I'm saying? The first week I actually started streaming, I was actually having the winners. And the second week I was streaming, that's when I just kind of like straight just back, like just started withdrawing, and that's why this week I had to pick up on my disciplines. I had to be disciplined, and I had some good trade setups. It just didn't go my way this week, right? So minus 117. But ultimately, next week is going to be a big winning week. Trust with me, guys. Stay with me, guys. I love every single one of y'all, right? And so remember those trading disciplines. Manage your risk, all right, everybody? So I love every single one of y'all. So remember, stay persistent, passionate, and make sure y'all get paid. All right, guys.